1 2 microphone check. All right, so this is Gregory Ford, CanadianBlackBusiness.com, GregoryFord.com. You know what it is. I never made a video about boxing before, but I'm gonna do one now because we had a really big boxing match that happened on Saturday and this past weekend, and it was just legendary. You know what I'm saying? We had Terrence Crawford against Canelo Alvarez, and it was a very very complex type of fight because the fact is everyone was saying that Crawford wouldn't be able to move up in weight that much, like he's moving up from 147 basically. He had one fight at 154, but he's basically moving up from 147 all the way to 168, and that's a big move. You know what I mean? In boxing, because fighting sports have weight classes for a reason, right? So so he moved up, and at first when I first heard about it, I was like, he's not gonna be able to do it, you know what I mean? Because it's too much. It's too much of a weight disparity between the two of them. You know what I mean? Canelo's been fighting at 168 for years. You know what I mean? And for him for Crawford to move up from 147 all the way up there, you know what I mean? Me and a lot of other people thought that it wasn't doable. Okay, but then I did change my mind. I wish I would have made a video beforehand. You know what I mean? Like, what I'm saying, so I could we could see the comparison. But anyway, I thought that when I heard about this fight, I thought, okay, it's stupid. There's no way he's gonna be able to do it, right? But then when I saw the two of them side by side, you know what I mean? Actually, they're about the same size, and really, actually, Crawford even looks bigger, in some pictures. So I was like, all right, so maybe they're not even that. Maybe it's not as much of an advantage that Canelo has that we think he has. You know what I'm saying? So after I saw him training and everything, I changed my mind. I said, okay, Crawford's gonna take it, and he did. You know what I mean? So go out there and watch the fight. It was an interesting fight because basically Canelo did everything he was supposed to do. He went to the body a lot. He was going, like, the first half of the fight, he was throwing almost exclusively body shots. Jabbing, throwing right hands to the chest, to the solar plexus. I mean, going to shoot, throwing the left hand to the body, the right hand to the body, which is what you're supposed to do when your opponent's faster than you are. You're trying to slow them down. Well, you should do that anyway, but I mean, like, it's useful against someone that's faster than you are. So he was doing the right thing. He was doing that. I'll also say that one thing I noticed is that both guys have really good defense. So Crawford was blocking a lot of those shots. You know what I mean? The body shots with his forearm, with his elbows, on both sides. Also Crawford had his hands like glued to his face. Like, if you notice, like his right hand was like glued to his face. His left hand was like glued to his face. So he was really protecting very, very well. And so a lot of those punches that Canelo was throwing weren't getting through. You know what I'm saying? So that's part of it. Also, I think that Crawford just outworked him. You know what I'm saying? He threw a lot more punches than Canelo, and even though the punches weren't like knockout punches, it doesn't matter. He was throwing combinations, and Canelo wasn't really throwing combinations that much. He was throwing one punch at a time, which is what he normally does, and it's usually enough. But Crawford was in there, and he wasn't scared. And you know what I'm saying? Like, people were saying, oh, Crawford can't trade with Canelo, but he did. The fact is, he did trade with Canelo. You know what I mean? And Canelo actually hit him square a few times. Like, Canelo hit Crawford. You can go watch the highlights. Canelo hit Crawford a good few times. Clean. You know what I mean? And Crawford ate it and kept coming forward. You know what I'm saying? So I just think Crawford outworked him. And that's basically why he won the fight. He was throwing more combinations, and he was using his jab a lot. The jab is the most useful punch in boxing. He had that jab out there. Another thing too that I found was interesting is that Crawford is a southpaw. right? So I don't know if you don't know boxing. Southpaw means you're not in the conventional boxing stance where you're using your left hand as your jab and your right hand as your power hand. It's the inverse, right? Or the reverse. So, he is the other way. You know what I mean? So the way to beat that, you know what I mean, is to throw your right hand, because your right hand is now right in your opponent's face, and Canelo was doing that, but it wasn't enough. He just couldn't do it enough, and Crawford is so slick that he used head movement, he used a lot of upper body movement. You know what I mean? And it was just I think it was just too much for him. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if I'm trying to explain this, you know what I mean, to somebody that doesn't know boxing. I love boxing. I've been boxing kind of forever. I box a little bit, just for fun. Like, yeah, I'm just a gym fighter. I don't do it as a career. I just do it, in the gym. But I try to break it down for you like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just the way that he was keeping his head off the center line, because it's the center line. So that's where your opponent's gonna hit you. If it hits here, but if you move your head off the center line, you know what I mean? You don't have to move it that much. You know what I mean? Because your fist is only this big. So if you can just move your head up the center line a little bit, you know what I mean? Now you evade the punch, and now you can throw back. You know what I mean? So, I think that Canelo just didn't know how to deal with that type of movement. You know what I mean? So anyway, it was a good fight. Shout out to both fighters. You know what I mean? People are talking stuff. Oh, maybe Canelo should retire and all this. But I mean, it was a good fight. Why should he retire? I mean, and then people are saying now, oh, Crawford should fight Benavidez. It's like, come on, man. Benavidez is at 175. So you want this man to come up from 147 pounds up to 175 pounds and fight a light heavyweight? That's stupid, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just give the man his props. Give the man his flowers. You know what I mean? He did what he said he was gonna do, and that's it. You know what I mean? They could both retire now anyway. They're both so rich that they could retire anyway. But I mean, I don't think him going up to 175. Crawford going up to 175 makes any sense, and people are talking about that. I don't think that makes any sense. I think people just want to see him lose, like how everyone just wanted to see Mayweather lose. You know what I mean? And they never got that, so they're mad. I think this is the same thing for Crawford. People just want to see him lose. Like, how much more do you want him to challenge himself? You know what I mean? He moved up 3 weight divisions and fought the GOAT and beat him. Like, how much more? Why? Like, how much more? What else do you want him to do? Like, so anyway, shout out to both fighters. Catch you on the next one. GregoryFord.com, CanadianBlackBusiness.com. Peace.